So recently, you might have heard about the recent innovations on regarding bamboo and the gas-based economies, the pipelines. So today we have with us Mr. Pankaj Gogoi, who is the founder of bluecoreeneergy. It's a Guwahati-based organization, and who are who is into this gas-based economy sector. And through this conversation, he will delve more into this sector and give us insightful information how it's going to impact the regional economy. So let's welcome Mr. Pankaj Gogoi
Hello.
to Business Northeast.
Hello.
Mr. Gogoi.
Hi.
So bamboos, it's always considered as a handicraft, or
Right.
where Assam is into agriculture as well. So beyond that, how gas based economy is going to help us, how the Assam will kind of go ahead in
Yeah.
this field. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I would like to share about Assam Bio-Refinery, which initiated the conversion of ethanol from bamboos. So that was a turning point where the whole of Assam took Assam Bio-Refinery as seriously as ever in terms of gas base. Well, there are other avenues for gas production. It can be natural gas, it can be renewable energy as well. But through bamboos, the ethanol plant was the first step towards making it happen. Uh, Assam itself is a agricultural state. Means, in fact, Northeast depends on agriculture. It is not. Uh, in fact, the waste that are generating from the agricultural waste are not converted to any energy. So, waste to energy is the concept which brought us to get into this sector. So, uh, the waste to energy is one sector which can definitely um, bring back glory to the state. And just like the oil industry grew once upon a time, the gas-based economy can be a good sector, uh, producing gas from waste of the agriculture. It could be bamboos, it could be sugarcane, it could be cow dung. So these are some of the avenues which will definitely create a difference. And the dairy industry is also growing. So the cow dung availability is also there for producing compressed biogas. So that's how the economy will increase as a result of these initiatives.
So as you have mentioned about the biogas, the biofuel, if you say,
Yeah.
so earlier we had these biofuel things here in entire India,
Mm.
but somehow there were challenges, and we started using other methods of
Yeah.
gas. So what's the scenario now? Of what if we fully turn into biofuels?
Yeah.
How it's going to turn the economy of the region?
Yeah, basically, in terms of if we go down to create gas-based economy, there would be the development of manpower. People would be required for such industry because the raw materials that is required is huge in terms of producing gas. So, for instance, just in our case, for producing 5 ton gas per day, we require about 150 ton of agricultural waste as well as cow dung as well. So, in order to create such an atmosphere, there would be massive work in the field for getting the raw materials. The raw materials, if the raw materials are available, then there is no issue. But there has to be a continuous supply of raw materials to get these avenues running. Basically, in order to run the plant for every day, we require around 150 ton of raw material. So so the logistics part of arranging such huge amount of raw material is a great challenge for which the um, development in terms of workforce management has to be created so that the logistics are taken care for bringing those raw materials to these plant site. And similarly, this is the case of one plant. But in terms of setting up more plants, because uh, the commercial uses of gas is limited here in Northeast. Basically, people are relying on coal for gas. So if those brick industries, then various other industries need, if they need to be converted to gas-based economy, then the demand for gas would be huge. So this needs at least a good number of plants coming up in all these sites of Northeast. Means specifically, you, when we planned for the 8 plants that we are working upon, so we took all the areas where the raw material availability is concerned. So there, if the raw materials are available, then only there is a possibility of easily setting up a plant. But at the same time, we also took to Napier grass. So Napier cultivation has to be done to produce such an amount of raw materials. So those are areas where the whole ecosystem of agriculture, as well as um, uh, the whole ecosystem has to be evolved as to the raw materials, the plant, then the logistics, then the supply. All this are has to be there in place, so that it will take some time, for at least 2 to 3 years, for just setting up the raw material supply chain. So once that is done, then possibly setting up a plant is gonna be easy. Some gas company has already set up uh, such gas-based supply to about 500 ton of gas. They are produce. They've taken up this space for producing 500 ton of gas per day. So that basically would serve the commercial and the local consumers uses. But for green energy, if we need to set up CBG units, then basically all the places nearby rural places needs to be taken up with such place. Like for instance, near Guwahati, one plant should be there. Then at the entrance of Assam, the Kokrajhar area should be there. Then Jorhat, Tejpur. These are some of the areas where possibility of setting up plants is possible.
Okay, so how your company, Bluecore
Yeah,
Energy, is supporting this initiative of government?
yeah. Basically, it started off with the bamboo ecosystem only, but at the same time, the way we wanted to achieve is basically taking some more time than what was expected. Now, what we intend to do is basically set up 8 plants across Northeast India, and first plan is the one which we have we started in Sonapur, but due to some land issues, we had to shift to another location. So we are still working on the location part, as in terms of land issues are there. So as well as the production of Napier grass in and around Jagi Road. So we are working on those areas basically to get the raw materials cultivated in 1 2 years time, and so that by the third year the possibility of production can happen.
So, in last two questions, you
Yeah,
have mentioned about the challenges like the
yeah,
raw materials,
yeah,
logistics,
yeah,
and now about the land part.
yeah,
So, what you are doing and what the government is supposed to do
yeah,
to mitigate those challenges, and what are other challenges beyond that?
yeah. Basically, there are means subsidies for CBG plants. So for about 5 ton CBG of gas, there's a subsidy of 4 crores subsidy as well. But for a plant which is costing about uh, 25 crores per plant, is basically requiring lot of investment coming in to get this thing done. So those are areas where even the state biofuel policy needs to be improvised based on this supporting the entrepreneur or supporting the industry as to mm, they can create uh, synergy uh, between the entrepreneur as well as the government. So government, in terms of setting up the biofuel policy, can be taken up from the ministry side as to so that more and more entrepreneurs come forward for this gas-based economy. At the same time, we are also looking for similar kind of people who can take up in terms of partnership model, like to create um, the plan that the whole initiative has to go beyond collaboration and partnership. So that's why we are looking for individuals who can also collaborate with us in sharing the same dream.
So how like private partnerships can help
Yeah.
in this?
Yeah, public-private partnership can definitely help because the cost of the plant is very huge. So, as an entrepreneur, it is difficult to invest such a huge amount of sum at one go. But if the subsidies are provided on upfront subsidies, if they're provided, then possibly the things would be more easier than before because upfront subsidy, if it is there, then the initial challenges of setting up the plant, like booking the uh, plant infrastructures, setting up the land, then making the land ready for cultivation as well. All this can be taken up at one go, and by that time, the investors also would be keen enough to invest in those venture where the subsidies are given upfront, and there's a role of government to play a big role there. Basically, um, if the subsidies are given on time, then the investors would be ready enough for uh, more investments coming in because for one plant, if it is 25 cr, so there would be more people who would come forward to set up such initiative.
It's good, sir. दूसरा clip है. So, what are some of the subsidies that can
Yeah,
help carry out these projects if the entrepreneurs
yeah,
come if they are help
yeah.
they are supposed to help in these initiatives. So, what
Mhm.
are the subsidies by the government?
Yes, subsidy. There's a SATAT subsidy is there. So there's a subsidy for 4 CR for the plant, which has to be minimum 4.8 ton per day gas production. So for that, the 4 CR is there, and then there's electrical subsidy. Then there's also subsidy for GST as well. Then there are some other subsidies like the GST and the VAT are also waived off. So the tax holiday, if it can be extended to 5 6 years, then it would be more valuable for the entrepreneur to take up. Basically, in the initial 2 3 years, the plant won't be running basically at the same time because the availability of the raw material has to be there before it produces 100% efficiency of the gas. So that way, the subsidies are very much important, but at the same time, the steps that the government can take up is definitely gonna make a difference to the environment.
What's basically required to set up a set up a venture in biogas
Yeah,
in biofuels?
yeah,
Like, what was your challenge in
yeah.
your journey?
Yeah, initial capital was the challenge, which is, of course, generally difficult to get. Then there is very, if the concept is new, means it 2018 only the biofuel policy was launched. the people people are not keen enough to invest in new ideas. So when we started in 2021, so it was quite new, and most of the plants that were uh, inaugurated in India were running out of less efficiency. So this becomes skeptical for the investors to invest in such ventures, basically. So for getting initial seed capital, it was difficult. But at the same time, since now the government has taken up initiative, even Reliance has taken up initiative for setting up 500 plants in South India. So these are some of the uh, benefits that the industry would bring in. Basically, the investment would come in once the first first portion of the gas is produced in the market. So and similarly, the infrastructure for the gas are also built up. Like there is Northeast Gas Distribution Company, which is taking care for supplying of the gas to the consumer. Then there is IGGL, International Gas Grid Limited. So these are basically transporting gas from one point to the other. So it's a gas grid that connects all that can connect all the gas units. Even while connecting with Indian Oil Corporation, from which we got our buyer there. So there were lot of understanding was taken as to, because it took a long time to find out that someone would start something. We got lucky a little bit because we we found out the raw material where it would come from. So the initial cow dung was basically sourced from Jagi area. So we were trying to work on those areas. So those are some of the challenges that we face. And if those areas, if you could handle it with care, and if the production of the gas produces, if it happens earlier, then it can make sense.
So, developing a gas-based economy
Yeah,
and fully being sufficient in this part,
yeah,
how this will help in the cross-border trade
yeah,
with our Southeast Asian countries?
yes.
How it's going to help in the trade?
Yes, basically, uh, the roads to Southeast Asia is already there. Be it Myanmar, be it Bhutan, be it Bangladesh, or going towards Thailand. The roads are already available. So, if the gas based economy grows up in Northeast, we can export gas to the neighboring countries, and this will create lot of avenues for growth in the in the gas space, because the concepts of the CBG is also new. Suppose we went uh, to Singapore to see in the gas space uh, industries that they have set up. They are also very new in this format. So they are also working on optimizing their plans. And we also got in touch with Sobono Energy, who gave us insights from their point of view as to uh, they are converting all the waste to energy in Singapore. So such an example is basically a very important one. Similar gas-based setup can be created in Guwahati also. We tried to work on the organic waste of Guwahati to convert into energy, but there are some challenges. That the segregation part is the challenge as to how we can segregate the organic and the inorganic part. So once that is done, there needs to be a segregation plan before it reaches our plan. So if such initiative can be taken up at the government level by creating in PPP model for such industries, then more and more CBG units can come and more gas can be produced. So similarly, CNG vehicles are running in Guwahati now. So now CBG the vehicles can be run by CBG also. CNG and CBG are almost similar. If the gas throttle is if it's increased, then it becomes CNG. Such areas needs to be worked upon, and the challenge of having the organic and the inorganic waste segregated is the challenge part which we need to solve upon.
That's good. So, about your recent initiative with Sonapur, about your plant. So, if that model can be, imposed in other parts of Assam or other northeastern states, like how you are supposed to approach for it, how people can, uh, replicate that model.
In fact, we did try the same model for Kokrajhar, Jorhat, and then Sibsagar area as well. So the similar plan can be set up only if the uh, agricultural waste are available. So if the plant needs to be running on cow dung and agricultural waste, then it can be done. In fact, municipal solid waste, if it can be uh, taken from all the towns of Northeast, then also it can be worked upon. We tried with we tried to communicate with Shillong waste. They are working on segregating the waste, so they seem to be coming up with new terms in terms of waste and waste to energy. So getting implemented in terms of the similar model as Sonapur plan, we intend to have some entrepreneur collaborated with partnership in terms of partnership, and a plot of land needs to be available for setting up the plant, and the distance between the plant and the raw material site has to be less, so that the communication and the transportation cost is less. Otherwise, the whole unit economics doesn't match.
So your model at Sonapur was a success. So how much is the capacity of that? What's the output right now?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it is a success as of now till we produce gas. So it is. We are still working upon. We are getting our hands tied on the initiative. The the plant basically is running. I mean, is planned to produce 5 ton gas per day. So this plant would need about 150 ton of waste coming out from the various places in and around Sonapur and Jagirod area. So that's where we intend to work upon. Similar model can be worked upon in other places as well. So currently we are still working on setting up the plant, means having solving our land issues with, so that we can uh, at least have the raw material availability faster, and then having the plant installed soon.
So, any other thing that your company is planning to invest on right now after this after this plant in Sonapur?
CBG plant we are working upon, because it is itself a very big project for us. So we intend to work upon CBG, and of course for uh, for optimizing electricity, we might take up solar panels in our plants, so that in the areas where uh, raw materials are cultivated. So that's where we intend to do. As of now, we are focusing on CBG only.
Good. So, last but not the least, what about the employment generation through these kind of projects? What do you think of that?
The employment generation is going to be huge, because the plant itself would need 50 manpower working in shift basis, and then about 500 people for the transportation of the raw materials. Minimum to 500 to 600 people has to be running on day to day for operations. So it would create massive income generation for the rural people. At the same time, also supply in the agricultural space would also increase, because Napier, if we are cultivating, then it is also going to the dairy industry. So at the same time, if the dairy industry grows, then the more cow dung would be available for our plant. So it helps a lot, and manpower manpower would be required in terms of uh, getting our work done. But at the same time, if we intend to see that there are plenty of plants coming up, then good amount of human resource would be required.
So, Mr. Gogoi, you have very well explained about the gas-based economy, about the challenges, how we can mitigate them, how the government is supposed to plan out their
Yeah.
things, how we can take help of the subsidies. So, thank you so much for joining Business
Thank you.
Northeast today.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much.
you so
Thank
much.
you.